Greetings, unsettled souls. Today we are unsettled. Tell you what, we're going to be real on this show. I'm going to put my phone number out there real quick, and I have a feeling a few of you are going to want to go ahead and call in. Now, the way this works is David, Eric, hello, what's up? I see you joined in. 330-371-4530. I'm going to do the Fukushima update like I promised I would, but now that I'm also posting on Facebook as I post on YouTube, I have realized that I've just wanted to keep the show a bit local when people are tuning in and just logging on, as it were. For those of you, and I got people in Japan and stuff listening, who are tuning in for the Fukushima news, don't tune out. It's going to be about Fukushima and radiation, like I promised. Eric and David, I'm glad you joined in. There's going to be other people that might know this. The show, as I wait for people to tune in, is going to get serious for a moment. About a third of my life, I worked with a gentleman named Rick Motz, 111, Mr. Lucky. And by that, I mean, during the time I known him, I think he's won like $30,000 in the lottery. He probably spent about $8,000 to do it. He was the mumbler if you called Yellow Cab. You called him, you'd ask him where your cab worked. He'll breathe a little bit. Then we're doing the best I can, I got a little backed up. You're supposed to know that that means I'm doing the best I can. He'll be there. I'm a little backed up. He was crabby. Oh, him and I almost came to blows once, but this Vietnam vet probably would have beat my ass, and he was older than I was. Friends, Rick Motz has died. So this is local, waiting for people to tune in. I got here at 9:30. I'll carry this on until about 9:36. 330-371-4530 if you knew Rick, or if you talked to Rick. I'm not going to be afraid to say this, friends. His family dropped the ball here. He didn't have a lot of people in his life, but yellow cab, driving cab, that's what I used to do. Yellow cab was pretty much his only life, and I worked with him for 9, 10, 12 years. Some people worked with him, like Glenn Holcomb. He worked with him for like 30 years. And none of us knew he passed on. He was sort of a Canton, Ohio legend. Again, if you're listening in Japan or Bug Tussle or Tennessee, give me 2 minutes. I'm letting people tune in. I'll get off the local stuff that you don't care about. If you're finding it later, then by all means, skip ahead if you wish. But I don't think Rick Motz got put down well. I don't think he deserved to die without anybody knowing who his crabby ass was. And yes, I'm sorry, 111, you were crabby. It's not right. So I wanted to dedicate the beginning of my show while I'm waiting for people to tune in. I wanted to dedicate it to him. Because let's face it, I don't know about you, but I can speak for me. If there's anybody that's ever going to die someday alone without anybody knowing about it whatsoever, it's probably going to be me. So, I mean, I'm being facetious, but so is Rick. All I can say, friends, is this. If you knew Rick Motz, 111, the chicken-eating, JoJo-eating, always crabby, call on the phone, angry, never wanted to talk to him, but when you got to know him, kind of cool guy, you can put that all in quotes. Rest in peace, Rick Motz. Rest in peace. All right, friends, for those of you that tuned in for the massive Fukushima update, do not be let down. We are going to go into it now. Check this out. JapanTimes.co.jp. TEPCO to resume TV commercials for the first time since the Fukushima nuclear crisis. Now, this is where... This is where you can tell immediately, without fail, that we are talking about the bottom line when we're talking about nuclear proliferation. And if you tuned in for Rick Motz, by all means, skip it in a minute, but listen to this. Do you know that your tax dollars go to pay for the government to subsidize, that is to give money to nuclear power plants, because they cannot afford to run being such a liability without it. And you are thereby, in essence, paying for your own demise. And I don't mean people that say, oh, I'm afraid, I'm not afraid to die. I'm not talking about that. That's not what nuclear poisoning does. Nuclear poisoning gives you the flu when other people didn't get it. Nuclear poisoning affects your body, your health, and you're not going to die tomorrow. This isn't the firing squad, people. I hate to be the one to tell you this, but this is a slow, miserable deterioration of your life. And you might think that this only happens during nuclear meltdowns. Well, let me be the one to tell you that that's not the case. Look up routine release. That's right, routine release. Now we're talking about nuclear poisoning. So let me pick up this brick here that I use as a paperweight. And let me pretend that I'm going to take this brick and give it a routine release at the screen. What's that going to do to the screen? It's actually a destroying release. But oh, you can't get the taxpayers to pay for it if you call it that. However, if I can't get you to hit subscribe. I can't get you to hit like if I say I'm going to throw a devastating brick through my screen and you don't get to hear the rest of my show. However, if I call it a routine release, it might ease the pain. So you'll be dumb enough to hit like before I throw a brick through my computer. All right, let's follow the analogy here. We talk in real terms here. Let's follow the analogy here. You can't get Joe Dumbass to pay for nuclear subsidization if you remind him that it's giving him cancer and blood diseases and the colds and the flu and the thyroid problems. You can't get him, Joe taxpayer, to pay for that if you do that. But what you can do is get him to pay for it if you refer to nuclear releases as a routine release. Look up Helen Caldicott, routine release. She called it, a routine cancer. So now that we've picture framed what we're talking about here, let's really look at this. This is about TEPCO, which is General Electric, which is why you should never invest nor be part of any kind of a profit sharing that helps them. General Electric brings cancer. Okay, they melted down the Fukushima nuclear power plant. And real quick, before anybody has a chance to say they didn't know any better, they did know better. They were warned by experts for a very long time that building a nuclear power plant there was an absolute disaster. Seismologists have said in no uncertain terms, hey, idiot, wake up. Japan was created by an earthquake, an island. It's going to be destroyed someday by an earthquake. Meanwhile, you're going to have tidal waves. They're going to wash over your little wall that you think is so preemptive to these waves. And they didn't listen. General Electric, that's TEPCO, the same company. They didn't listen. Now look what they're doing. They're going to sell themselves as this great redeemed company. Okay, listen to this crap. The marketing unit of TEPCO Electric Power Company Holdings Incorporated, the operator of the tsunami-hit Fukushima nuclear complex, said Tuesday that it will resume advertising its products on TV for the first time since the 2011 crisis. TEPCO Energy Partner, that is General Electric, look it up, will start advertising the company's products and services on TV from Wednesday in Tokyo and 6 nearby prefectures after refraining to do so since the core. So basically, it's time for them to start advertising again. It's time for them to start getting advertising dollars back in. Do you know why? Because they want you. Yes, you watching the dumb guy in the black hat. They want you to pay for the cleanup by buying General Electric products and services and electricity. They want you to increase their bottom line so that you will pay for the disaster that they caused when they were warned that it was going to happen. Yeah. We're going to get that real on this show, friends. Who's still with me? And who's on Facebook? I'm going to check this real quick. I always forget to do so, and then people yell at me later. Then again, no matter what I do, people yell at me, so I guess it's part of the course. I can't even find the main page now, so I might not try to look at you guys. That's why I don't. There's too many things going on. All right, I do have something here. And I am looking. This is why I don't do it live, because Facebook is way too slow to keep up. Well, Dave gave me the thumbs up. All right, do me a favor. If you're going to do anything on this show, call 330-371-4530. I'll give the number a couple times. I'm going to lose all my listeners if I keep stopping to try to catch these video supplies. All right, guys, check this out. A Daily Post. What Fukushima disaster victims want to tell people of North Wales about nuclear reactors. And if you don't live in the North Wales, then don't freaking panic, because this isn't just about them. This is about anyone who is going to get a nuclear power plant built in their area. For instance, there are a great number of people living in the United States of America today who do not realize that an earthquake triggered one of the 3, possibly 4 major issues that are going on in Fukushima. There were 4 of them. One of them was triggered by the earthquake, and that was independent of the actual tsunami. That means that an earthquake could trigger the same kind of disaster here without the water. Now, let's add the water into it. You say, hey, I don't live anywhere near the ocean, so the nuclear power plant where I live can't be a problem. Do you live near a dam? Because recent studies have found that a dam will wash over the nuclear power plant just like a tidal wave. It will knock out the generators in the same way that the tidal wave did, and it doesn't matter whether or not the water came from an ocean or a dam, you are damned. So let's take a look at this story with all of that in mind. This is what the people that lived through it have to say about the wonders of nuclear energy. As I wait for pop-ups to go away, I swear to God. Victims of the nuclear disaster at Fukushima in Japan visited North Wales to warn people. To say we should have nuclear power plants? No. To warn people against building new reactors in Wi-Fi and I think it's Translate. Horizon Nuclear Power's plans to build a 12 million Wilfa Newwood have formally accepted for consideration of planning in Spectra. A lot of this, I think, is in languages that I don't speak very well. I'm kidding, but you know what I mean? I don't do well with, I have no idea who that funder is. But anyway, Horizon's nuclear power's plans is to build a new structure right in an area that's just as much in jeopardy as Japan was. Yesterday morning, 2 farmers and a journalist from Fukushima visited Angelesi to share their firsthand experiences of the nuclear disaster, which has caused an earthquake that triggered the tsunami in 2011. An investigation found plant operator TEPCO, Tokyo Electric Power Company, GE, had failed to meet safety requirements, although it was the largest nuclear disaster since Chernobyl in 1986. There were no radiation fatalities. Now, see, that right there is an automatic lie, and I can tell you how. That's like saying that if I take this bug spray that I was using when I had the fleas in the studio, remember that? If you didn't see that last year, it was priceless. I'm like giving the report. All right. Now, if I spray this in my mouth, and I know you liberals wish I would, if I would spray that in my mouth and then die later because I'm choking and I fall down the steps, and they say that the bug spray did not kill the libertarian jerk in the black hat. Okay, that's not completely true. That is exactly what they're saying here in regards to nuclear power. They're trying to downplay what it is that they did so that you'll be dumb enough to do what I talked about in the first story, which is to pay for it. See how things tie together here? Farmers have been milking only to dump it. Vegetables, peaches, and cherries are talking about Fukushima Prefecture, Japan. Impossible to sell, have just been abandoned as waste. We have been unable to give our farm products to our family, particularly to children and grandchildren. Yes, that's because it's like giving them cancer. They're warning everyone in the world who will listen that this is not the way to go. All right, there's nobody listening to this show right now that is surprised by the fact that I have proven time and a million times more that man-made global warming is a lie. Man is not warming the planet at all. However, even if he was, the answer to global warming is not nuclear power. When a disaster happens, dilution is not the problem, the solution. Or to word it another way, dilution is not the solution to pollution. Who said that? Dr. Helen Caldicott. She's a greenie. And she's almost a socialist. Politically, we don't unite anywhere at all. But you know, right? Well, you know what? I'm sorry. You couldn't be more correct. Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah, I'm misspeaking. I just had a friend die. Give me a break. Listen to this, friends. Japan Times. And this is a travesty. At least 4 firms used foreign trainees to clean up radioactive contamination from the Fukushima nuclear power plant, according to the ministry. Now, I'm going to put this into perspective because I know a lot of people don't follow this, and you listen to the correct views because you want the update on this, but you don't want the long, tedious version. So we're going to give it to you in layman's terms. Joe Blow decides that he is going to need to get a job. So he applies at TEPCO. TEPCO, poison, perfect. TEPCO says, hey, come here. We will hire you. Oh, you will? Wonderful. So they apply, and then they send them into the nothing. Blacked out. They send them into Fukushima. Now, they have almost no money. They've got, God only knows how much time, money, and effort invested into getting this job. So they agree to whatever it is that TEPCO wants them to do because they need to keep the money coming. How many of you would be willing to make 15, 20 bucks an hour? And that's not bad money by normal standards. How many of you would be willing to do that to work at the Fukushima nuclear power plant? Not many, I would hope. If you did, you're an idiot. I don't know how you found the show. But what if you were sent there after you already put so much time and effort in from another country that you simply had no choice, and then they sent you there and it was either lose everything that you invested or go ahead and poison yourself, even though that wasn't what you signed on for? That's what's happening here. Listen to this. The Justice Ministry revealed Friday that at least 4 construction companies have used foreign trainees in radioactive cleanup work related to the triple meltdown at Fuku. The interim report of the ministry's probe, covering 182 companies with foreign trainee programs, 128 companies. Think about how many people work there, man. This is somebody's wife, children, whatever, husband. I know nobody cares about this particular husband, but most people care about other ones. 182 companies with foreign trainee programs as of June 29th said one of the 4 companies based in the Iwate Prefecture, that's like a state in Japan, has been banned from accepting foreign trainees for 5 years. Why? Because they were abusing them. The research started in the wake of the government announcement in March banning the use of foreign trainees in work to remove radioactive contamination. I'll tell you why they were doing this, friends. They were doing this. I'm going to go off screen share because you can already tell where I sourced it from. You can see it there. They can't get anybody from Japan to do it. So they're trying to find people that are down and out and may not even really know what the Fukushima disaster was. Maybe they were cut off from the internet. Maybe they're poor. Maybe they're living in the bush. I don't know. But whatever, however they end up, is anybody hearing me? They end up in these work groups. And from there, they end up needing to do almost anything. They may not even know what it is that they were exposed to until after they've done it and they're sick. And then they do their research and they found out their lives were destroyed. The government said such work is not consistent with the true purpose of the foreign trainee program. The issue came to light in March when a Vietnamese trainee at an Awate-based construction firm revealed that he had been assigned to take part in radioactive decontamination work without being given adequate explanation. Think about it. This could be someone that you love. This could be someone that you cared about. Somebody cared about these people. Otherwise, you die alone in nursing homes, like I mentioned earlier, and nobody tells any of your friends. That's probably going to be the way I go. But all jokes aside, really? This is what General Electric has stooped to? Is there anybody else at all angry about this? If you are, go ahead and call me. 330-371-4530. Yes, it's my roll number. Get a hold of me if you want to. Because this is a really big deal. And now, guess what? You get to go to the DUMDEES of the day. Wait a minute. DUMDEES? Did he say DUMDEES? Yeah, there's many of them. Okay, and they're going to be coming right after this report on Putin, who is getting DUMDEE light today. I mean, really, I want to pause for a minute and talk about Mr. Putin. This is a man who has been invading U.S. airspace. He has been in U.S. waters. He has tried to meddle in the elections in order to kill the viability of them. No, he did not help Trump. If anything, he tried to help Hillary. But, and that's what the facts prove if you don't argue with me unless you've looked up Christopher Steele. Okay, if you don't know who Christopher Steele is, do not even reply. Fair enough. Otherwise, we can pretty much prove that between Peter Strzok and Christopher Steele, that the dossier was as fake as a $3 bill in a dancer's garter after hours. But what we haven't yet learned is the fact that even though Putin did not help Trump, Putin really is not a likable, wonderful, let's have a beer with kind of person. And let's take a look at, really what this means. I'm happy that Donald Trump is trying to make peace with him because it's better than having war with him. And let's face it, let me digress one more time. How many Americans listening to my voice would be very happy if Putin put nuclear weapons on Mexico's border and pointed them at the United States? Probably not very many. But because of NATO, of which the United States is a part of, we have put nuclear weapons on Russia's border and pointed them. Kremlin, and somehow Putin is not supposed to be angry about that. I'm sorry, he has every reason in the world to be angry about that. It doesn't mean he has any business meddling in our elections or flaunting World War III by disobeying our airspaces, but there's a lot to be said here about it. Check this out. Putin showed a threatening video of nukes hitting Florida, and an outraged Trump snapped on him. Now, for those of you that have been listening to the mainstream media lie and say that Donald Trump is some kind of lapdog for Putin, why don't you get your facts straight before you sound like an idiot? Again, Yahoo News isn't exactly a haven of information for the right. It's actually a very leftist outlet, but it's posted, of course, from the Business Insider, which is a bit more moderate. And it says clearly, President Donald Trump was outraged by a March video presented by Russian President Vladimir Putin, in which nuclear weapons were seen hitting Florida, a news website Axios reports. In March 1st, speech during Putin's re-election campaign, he detailed several new nuclear weapons, each time stressing that the U.S. defenses could not handle the new designs. One of the computer-generated videos he used to demonstrate the weapons showed them hitting South Florida, hello Vic, where Trump frequently visits his Mar-a-Lago Golf Club resort. The video made Trump happy. Wait, that's not what it says. The video enraged Trump and prompted a sharp response in a call between the two leaders, the news website Axios reported on Sunday. Usually it's a bit of a love fest, Axios quoted a source close to Trump as saying. But this time the source said Trump told Putin the video was outrageous. I've already increased defense spending, modernized our nuclear weapons, and we can do more. If you want to do an arms race, then you will lose, Mr. Trump said. Now, does that sound like a weak president to you? And again, I'm going to talk to the leftists here for a minute, because I know that just by looking at my analytics that a lot of more left-leaning people tend to find this show than is normal. Otherwise, it's fine. Why shouldn't Trump try to create peace with Putin? If he can get him to stay out of our computers, then maybe we agree to get our nuclear weapons off of his doorstep. It seems to be working for North Korea. We're going to stop wargaming with South Korea, and North Korea is willing to work out peace with us. Maybe those of you that hate Trump, that's fine. We can agree to disagree. Welcome to America. Welcome to the show. Hit subscribe. We can still have a beer together. Oh, wait, that's bug poison. We can still get along. But let's understand that if Trump is working with Putin, that prevents Putin from working with Iran. And Iran chants death to America. And I'm pretty sure that neither me nor the average socialist who does not agree with me would like to die in a nuclear mushroom cloud. And that brings us to the DUMDEE of the day. Let me turn it down. I know it's too loud. I know. If you'd like to help us have better sound in the studio, then you can do so. You can do that at the correct views at hotmail.com. You can donate to PayPal. We got 2 DUMDEES of the day here, friends. And I mean, it's almost painful to go over just how bad it is. Because when you're talking about let's face it, we're talking about nuclear issues here. We are talking about absolute life and death, the worst and most poisoning nuclear elements that damage all life to all people. What if you just lost it? I'm sorry. Wait, where's my drink? I can't find my drink. Did I leave it downstairs? Oh, okay, that's fine. Let's rephrase that. I can't seem to find the plutonium. Is anybody worried yet? Because I wrote this for the Conservative Daily Post, so this one I'm going to read pretty much verbatim because, well, hell, it's mine. No one seems to have any answers about the missing radioactive material, but a research school can't find missing weapons grade plutonium. You can find this at the Conservative Daily Post. It's one of the most toxic elements in the universe, as you can see there quite clearly. When it comes to car keys, I wrote a wallet or that important paper, whatever it may be. Everyone loses something. Let's face it, friends, we all have. Some people seem to misplace things every day, as a matter of fact. However, as the Idaho Statesman reported today, there are some things that are so sensitive that their misplacement is nothing short of a national nightmare. As impossible as it sounds, Idaho State University has managed to lose grade plutonium. Now, we can only guess exactly how it is that even happened.